Good morning, everyone, and thank you for joining us on our webinar today. My name is Ana Maria Romero, and I'm the lead for the corporate services sector at CINDE, the Costa Rican Investment Promotion Agency. And we would like to welcome you all to our webinar, which is related to shared services and transforming into strategic advisors for the business and enhancing the customer experience. We have three very special guests today. So we have first Penny Weller, who is a North America Global Business Services Advisory Leader for the Hackett Group, and she will be our moderator this morning. Then we have also Matilde Morgan, Senior Director, GBS Strategy Business Development at Cargill. And we have Susana Pardo, Global Delivery Lead for Merck's Perdome, Costa Rica. So before we start, I want to share some housekeeping information for everyone. So we have a Q&A section on the bottom of your screen. So you can post all of your questions there, and we will have a Q&A session at the end of this webinar once we have finalized our panel with our guest speakers and our moderator. So please just put on your questions. We will be happy to address them to our speakers today. So with no further introduction, I would like to welcome Penny Weller as our moderator from the Hackett Group so that she can start sharing with us the trends and the different areas we will be looking at for the shared services transformation into a more insight and backbone of the organization. So thank you, Peller, and welcome.
Thank you, Anna. Welcome, everyone. I am excited to be with us with the event today, and I'm especially excited to be joined by two of our featured panelists. It's just kind of special because I think as GBS and Shared Services, we get it. We know the value that we bring to our companies, and we continue to delight and grow, and it's so exciting to be in GBS. I've been in the GBS world for probably 25 plus years before I even knew what a shared services was. And I've now been with the Hackett Group for 18 years as an executive advisor to help many companies be successful in their performance. Many of you may know the Hackett Group for benchmarking. So welcome, everyone. We're going to go through about 3 slides, and then we'll hear from our panelists. So on our first slide, we're going to talk about an annual study that we do. This is where we reach out globally to executives and we ask them specifically, what's top of mind? What wakes you up in the morning, and how are you strategically aligned to have success in your organization? And we produce research on this at an enterprise level as well as a functional level. So the first slide talks about what are those big commitment areas where companies are spending their time? And it's absolutely probably no surprise to any of you that at the top of the heap is all about digital transformation. It's been a phenomenal 18 months for all companies, and I think we've showcased, number one, what we can do, what we're capable, but this pivotal point has pushed ahead and made us focus more quickly than we ever thought even humanly possible to get our enterprise digital transformation underway. The crisis showcased many things, and it does highlight those items that I think make us successful. You'll see some of the comments here about being an enabler. So helping the business by providing some more insights and data-rich content for them to be successful. Customer centricity, we'll speak a little bit more about that because I am so excited to see that this has now grown and is in the top 5, if you will, of where we're focusing our attention. When we look at the next slide, we're going to go down one layer deeper, and that's where we focus on business. So on the next slide, specifically as we think about GBS and we think of the functions that we serve, it's not surprising to me, but at the top of the rank is being a strategic advisor to the business. This is what our businesses have asked for, and we're talking about finance, HR, IT, procurement, all of the big areas. It came out #1 across the board. The ability to be agile and adapt and move quickly. And to do that, we have to get at the right tables. We have to listen to the voice of our customers and know from a strategic standpoint, where are they heading? And then frankly, how can we provide optimal service to them to be able to move and align quickly? You'll see some talent and skills, the changing business need, a lot more drive for things like digital enablement. Many companies are grooming their staff internally. Some are having to bring in and augment their staff with external talent, but continuing to upskill our talent has proven successful over the years, so much more so even in the last 16 to 18 months. And then when we look at on the next slide, we want to go a little bit deeper as we focus on the customer. Now, granted, this only got to the #4 slot from an enterprise perspective, but I'm delighted to see that the customer centricity is in fact moving up. I have seen huge commitments from our GBS organizations. There's been a big ask from my clients specifically to help them do things like journey mapping and developing personas. So segmenting your customers so that they understand and you understand maybe how they like to use your services, thinking through their eyes and being much more customer focused has driven a lot of the changes and improvements that we've seen. We talk about personalization, and the foundation of all custom work, if you will, is to have great discipline in master data management and getting the basics right. It gives us that level up, the opportunity, gives us the opportunity to do a more custom, a personalized service operating. And then we're being proactive. We're not necessarily just waiting for someone to drop work on our heads. We're stepping up as GBS organizations. We're showcasing the value that we bring. It may be in things like growing the top line. It can be in reducing working capital and helping improve the working capital ratios. So there's so much more value that we bring, and we're starting to get a little bit, I'm going to say, braggadocious. We're starting to really market our services. It's a shift in mindsets from being a cost center to being a value provider. And from a self-sufficiency, we're moving from product-based onto service-based. So lots of changes, lots of research. If anyone wants to connect, I'm happy to connect on LinkedIn. But the real importance of today is to learn from others, practitioners, and what they've done. So let's take a look and find out, first of all, a little bit of an overview of the GBS Shared Services organization with Cargill. So I'd like to turn it over now to Matilde.
I'm very happy to be with you today to share a bit our story and what we've done at Cargill and in our GBS organization, which we call Cargill Business Services. So if you hear me refer to us at CBS. Before I start, I apologize, my camera isn't working. I'm having some technical challenge, so I apologize for that. Let me start with a quick intro on Cargill. I think most of you know us. Cargill is one of the largest private companies in the world. We provide food, agriculture, financial and industrial products and services globally. We have over 150 years of experience, very old companies. We have over 160,000 employees in the world across 70 countries, but we all share the same purpose, which I'm sharing with you today, which is to nourish the world in a safe, sustainable, responsible way. And this is what is driving all of our action wherever we sit at Cargill, with a strong focus on reducing environmental impact, improving the community where we live and where we work. So moving to our shared service organization, CBS, as I mentioned, our shared service organization is much younger, obviously. We started, we were born in 2014, 2015. But as you can see on this map, we have grown very quickly to a global network with about 7,000 employees across the globe in 9 different locations with a mix of hubs and spoke. And like many GBS organizations, which you described, Penny, we started with the objective to centralize and optimize in the traditional core function of HR, of finance, of procurement, of logistics. And we went from a fragmented approach to a much more coordinated, centralized approach. And if I'm looking back today, we realized that this approach has really allowed us to navigate the COVID crisis in a remarkable way with our talent, but has maintained our operation running at a very high level of productivity. At the same time, we were migrating the work. We build also strong continuous improvement capabilities, service performance management capability. And I would say the first 4 to 5 years, we were very busy migrating, stabilizing, and improving quality and delivering an efficiency year over year. And that kept us busy, I would say, until about a couple of years ago. And if you move to the next slide, please. Now we have a much better established foundation. We have a stronger brand. And a couple of years ago, it was actually before COVID started, we looked at how we wanted to shape the future of our organization and what role did we want CBS to play for Cargill. And at that time, as we were looking ahead, we decided to update and to rethink a bit of our vision to read, we want to become an indispensable partner for winning with our customer. So strategic advisor, how do we grab a seat at the table to really become that advisor to our stakeholders? And how do we make sure that it's linked to how we make we capture value for our customers, and that really were the driver for all of the action we've undertook this past 18 months, 2 years. I'm going to keep it simple because we'll go into greater level of detail, but 2 core action, 2 core pillar for our action. How do we start shifting from shared service center to capability center? And what does it mean for us? How did we go from this what we used to call transactional to really more value add kind of work? And we've launched quite a lot of new services lately in that space. The other area that is a strong focus for us is how do we capture value in a way we deploy, we focus on end-to-end processes. The one thing Cargill has done differently from all of the others is as we migrate the work to CBS, we migrated in legacy systems. So we still operate with a lot of various technology and focusing on end-to-end to maximize the value and to really deliver value for our customers and simplify the way they interact with us has been core to what we do. All of that enabled with more agile work, more adoption of digital tools, and obviously talent strategy to make it happen. So in a nutshell, this is where we come from and where we are going.
Yeah, that's fascinating. I loved your comment on the becoming an indispensable partner. So I appreciate that. All right, let's have Susanna now give us a little bit of insight about Merck. Thank you.
Thank you, Penny. Can you hear me okay?
Yes.
Wonderful.
Yes.
Wonderful.
Yes.
Thank you. Thank you. I appreciate the opportunity to participate. Hello, everyone. As you can see on this slide, Merck has been around for 130 years, inventing for life and bringing forward medicines and vaccines with the mission to save and improve lives. And we do have an aspiration to be a premier research-intensive biopharmaceutical company, bringing oncology, vaccines, infectious diseases, COVID, and cardiometabolic disorders solutions to the world and to impact health around the world. And we can also get to know the company not only by the areas that it focuses on, but also by our numbers. And in 2020, we had about 74,000 employees, invested about $13 billion in R&D, and spend about $3 billion in philanthropy. And the company vision and mission to save and improve lives has significantly resonated with our employees at GBS as to do very purpose-driven work. The company core values, putting the patients first, respect for people, ethics and integrity, and innovation and scientific excellence also frames our decisions. So this is basically how we are focused at GBS today as part of Merck. And what we see here is basically our footprint. So we, as GBS, we have global business services operating in 3 captive centers in San Jose, Prague, and Kuala Lumpur. And this is, kind of our spoke model delivery. And then we also partner with our global hub with Genpact. And together we deliver the business support around the globe. We have been around since 2017, and honestly, we're organized to accelerate the maturity journey. So we are very young in our journey. It's been about only 4 years, but we're organized to kind of bring the highest level of impact to the company. And we do have an organization, as an organization, we report to, we have a head of VP of GBS, and to Jeff Augustine, so we report, the operational excellence area, digital transformation, as well as the delivery center. So we are, I guess, organized, I would say it for speed and also for bringing the greatest impact and accelerate maturity as much as possible. As you can see on the slide, we enable the business via, delivery of high quality value-added services. Also, we aim to provide insights and analytics, and that is something that we started from basically almost day one in our journey. And also the capabilities for digital transformation and process optimization and governance. And it was an interesting journey to actually simultaneously try to bring standardization, bring unification of the implementation within just 2 ERPs, which is what we have today, as well as bringing the optimization and digital transformation, basically what it felt like all at once. So it has been a very accelerated, again, progress that we have been able to do here. And of course, this is based on the talent that we have been able to find and to resource our operations. I think we have a very highly capable, tomorrow ready, as we like to call it, talent pool that has not only served to, for our own basically purpose and goals within GBS, but also has become the talent pool for, for the markets we serve. So that is in terms of, how we enable the business. And the scope of work, we are looking at areas and, to support areas of finance, procurement, and travel, master data in customer service. And at the moment, we have started the journey to expand our scope, not only in traditional areas, but also non-traditional GBS areas. Thank you. And in terms of our roadmap, again, I mentioned we started in 2017. We started centralizing, the work and the implementation of the 2, and centralization of two ERPs, consolidation to those 2 ERPs, as we had others before. So all of that, again, was happening simultaneously, which made it very, very challenging. But again, I think it was because of the talent that we've been able to attract to the operation that we were able to quickly start with both the centralization of work and the implementation of the consolidated ERP solutions. At the same time, I think 2017 and 18 was, very foundational work in terms of service, service management, operational excellence, and talent strategy. So all of that happened within those 2 years. And 2019 and 2020, we started expanding scope beyond finance to procurement and meeting and card services, and simultaneously focused on, not only transitioning more work, but focusing on delivering tangible outcomes for the business in terms of speed and quality and the value that we could add through process improvement and digital transformation, which I think is along the lines of what I mentioned on the prior slide. The pace has been very accelerated. But again, I think we've been able to, to do the centralization, improvement, and digital transformation in this 4 years to a significant extent. And in terms of bringing benefit to the business, I think, Penny, to your comment earlier, we see, improvement in working capital, the integration of the planning process, and bringing, greater standard and dynamic ways of doing analysis for the business and the business performance. And those are, important contributions. I think, as you alluded, some of that is difficult to capture in terms of benefit for the business, and not as easy as other things that we do in terms of being able to represent that value in a very tangible manner. So also from a talent development, also I think that is a key area of focus for us. We were able to start exporting talent and creating also a strong foundation of operational excellence. And as Matilda mentioned, right, the resiliency and the sustainability that we bring to the business, I think it has created a new appreciation for GBS, and now seeing GBS as an important pillar in how our capabilities and also contribute during this time of COVID and the pandemic, the global pandemic. For 2021 and beyond, we are starting to see that the strong capabilities, I think it's a very interesting time, the strong capabilities that GBS has developed over the last 4 years, we used to see them, I would call it as a bundle, right? And we're looking now that we can unbundle those capabilities to provide great impact to the business. And so we used to see, I guess, GBS as an integrated solution, that when we provided services, with the services came process governance and optimization. And on top of that, you layered, continuous improvement, systems, tools, implementation, just digital transformation in general, and a great customer experience. Now, what we are finding is that we can disaggregate those capabilities and provide, governance, for example, process governance, without necessarily having to own the operations for other areas that we don't support today in terms of the transactional work. Or that we can do in-process interventions with design for digital approaches or workshops for areas of the business for transactional work that we don't own. And with those designed for digital, interventions, we can also transform the business, again, without having the ownership of the processing. So seeing GBS more from its competencies, from its capabilities, and what we can deliver for the business, and leveraging in different ways, not only in this bundle, what I call a bundle approach, but more really seeing the capabilities and how they can be applied in the different areas of the business.
Great, thank you, Susana. Penny, go ahead.
All right. I think we might be ready for our first polling question. This will give us a little more insight as to what your thoughts are. So as that polling question comes up, we'll be asking you to have multiple choices here. You can select from all of these, from the following business services improvement priorities, which apply best to your current state in your GBS. Are you looking to secure functional data and systems? Are you looking to improve cost efficiency? What about aligning skills and talent with the changing needs? Like you heard about tomorrow-ready talent. Accelerate the function through digital transformation, or improving functional agility, And then finally, what about acting as a strategic advisor to the business? So we'll give you a couple of more seconds here to respond. And as you do, I wanted to share with Susanna that I had a lengthy career in shared services at Pfizer. And my kind of mantra to my staff was the patient is waiting. Everyone knew someone, so we were able to align and try from a strategic standpoint to take 2% of the SG&A budget and turn it over to the research group. Because we all know in the pharma business in particular, you're only as good as your pipeline of products. So I thought you might find that interesting. All right, we now have some results. Number one, oh my, it's like you read the script. 67% rated the act as a strategic advisor to the business as the number one. Looks like a tie across the board in cost, which always ranks high in all GBS, aligning your skills and talent, and then accelerating digital transformation. Any comments from you, Susanna or Matilda?
Well, I'll jump in. I will say that I'm not surprised that strategic advisor ranks number one. I think for us it has been, when I mentioned in my quick intro, you know, after we were not done, but post migration, stabilization, improvement of quality, say what do we want to be when we grow up, and we really want to be that strategic partner at the table. And this is what we have been putting our efforts for the past couple of years. It's not something you can demand, correct? It's a right, it's something we have to earn. So we went through what Susanna described very well in terms of migrating, bringing strong performance management to the table, articulating the value we bring to the business in terms of how do we improve operational control, how we remove 10% of cost year over year from the organization, how do we provide better end-to-end visibility on our process, how do we ensure round-the-clock business operation for our client? And this came really important this past year for all of us, correct? Our ability to maintain operation. And all of that with the capabilities we built allowed us to really, I would say, build a stronger brand, build a stronger partnership. But you said it very well in the intro, Penny. We had to go through the exercise of saying, where do we want to play? Where do we not want to play? It's as equally important. And how do we get there? So today, I would say that we are a lot better positioned. We are engaging with our stakeholders to drive innovation, to change the way we work, and to enable their strategy. And I think that's a key change from what we used to do, the key differentiator. We are partnering to build new capabilities, and I'll share with all of you at this past year, we launched a lot of new services in our GBS organization in Costa Rica, but also in other parts of the world, around marketing services, around project and portfolio management, around centralized admin services, data analytics, in support of our commercial excellence team, in support of the enterprise themselves. And I think what those new capabilities have in common is they are cross-functional, they require a deeper understanding of what our customers need. And we are spending, we've also put in place a new account management structure with thought leader, with strong business acumen, who are here to partner with our stakeholders. So definitely on our path there. It's a journey we are on, but we operated that pivot, I would say, a year and a half ago, and very, very happy to see that we're no longer pushing that boulder of a rock. People are coming to us, and we're able to define how we can engage with them and help them achieve Cargill strategy at the end.
Yeah, greatly appreciate those insights. In fact, as you put the next slide up, you'll see that we said that the characteristics of being that trusted strategic advisor, consistency, top talent, agile behavior, and a deep knowledge of the business. So it's, and the first comment there is GBS doesn't determine whether it is a trusted advisor, only the opinion of the stakeholders matter. And having that mindset, as Matilde said, is really critical. So let's move on, because from the polling question and our first comment that we wanted, I think we're pretty well addressed that. On the next slide, you'll see another topic that we have, and that is as we talk about things like digital and then the functional agility, how quickly we can adapt and move. I call this getting to the table so that we are in the know and we can understand what our businesses need and we're able to flex and move. So be agile. If your service work were to increase by 20%, what would that take you to do to evolve to meet those needs? What if it dropped by 30%? What would that do to your organization? And then how well are we doing as far as this functional digital transformation? And it sounds like both Merck and Cargill are not only involved in this journey, but are providing services and governance structures to help others. So let's see, Susanna, what are your thoughts?
Thank you, Penny. This is an interesting topic. And when we think about, the agility and the digital transformation, I think, for Merck, we are, our GBS organization is young. We're early in the process. It's only been 4 years. And, we have been, meeting all the challenging targets from the beginning. And I would say that, from a digital transformation perspective, it has really enabled us to meet the targets that we had from a cost and efficiencies perspective, as well as to transform the experience of the customer as well. So I think, we have been able to, and transform some of the processes that we had in terms of the customer experience from a digital perspective, by transforming the processes like T&E or collections or purchasing. And I think those have been foundational changes that we have made. But also, we've been able to align and supplement and augment those experiences with also, with all the other digital tools like RPA, RDA, machine learning, and other aspects of what we do as well. So I think that we've been very much experimenting, and I think at this point we are looking to be very intentional in crafting the strategy and defining the ecosystem of what are those foundational digital capabilities that we need to bring to the business. And in what areas that cover in terms of the process needs and the experience as well. And then what are those other areas where we need to supplement, again, as I mentioned, from either, machine learning or chatbots or other, RPA workflow solutions. And, so basically creating a well thought out ecosystem of how we think of the future from a digital transformation perspective.
Thank you. Matilde, anything you'd like to add?
I think what Susanna described is a bit what we're doing as well. I mean, for us, agile means customer first. So it has been a transformation for us. But we are definitely working very closely with some specific process owners, I would say, to leverage digital transformation to enhance the customer's experience. I'll share one example because I think that will be telling for the audience. Customer service order management. What we have found out is today in Cargill world, for every order placed, the customer talks 7 times to Cargill and to 4 different teams. And this is where we say, by putting the customer, by becoming a more customer-driven organization, looking at how do we look at agile capabilities to really, work differently, to be, I would say, self-organized, looking to deliver the product that the customer wants to have and the way the customer wants to consume, with us, the information with us. We have been able to really start helping improving our end-to-end process, enabling those end-to-end process with new type of digital technology that is here to enhance the customer experience. So definitely a start of a journey for us, but very similar to the journey that Susanna has shared.
Yeah, I love the end-to-end process design that you both talked about. Very valuable. All right, what's our next topping point? All right. Aligning skills and talent. We actually had a question come through on this, so let's talk a little bit. I love the concept. I think it was tomorrow ready talent, but as you think about talent, how do you balance the kind of the current and the future needs of the GBS? It's absolutely vital. We're finding that there's many of these technology skills that are of interest to individual organizations that are necessary. Sometimes you might have a managed service approach where you use an external provider to give you some of those insights. I know the BPO environment now is also hosting and helping with some of those kind of activities. So things like that I think can be very important. And one of the questions that came in were, could you share some examples of emerging capabilities and skills? And then the second part of that is, what is the upskilling strategy to bring your talent to the next level? So some of those emerging capabilities and skills. My one short sentence on that would be that we definitely see a need for digital. All things digital are hot right now. Whether it's a data scientist or people that are groomed and can do things in RPA. There's a lot of no-code, low-code type work that's being groomed and trained. Many of the providers are offering their own assessments and capabilities, but we're still looking for some of those soft skills, like the ability to be curious. So curiosity, business acumen, really focusing on customer centricity, service design. Let's take some comments. Susanna?
Sure. Well, from a talent perspective, I think in the industry, I think we're all focused on our talent and our workforce, and Merck in particular, I feel like has a very high level of focus on our talent. I think when it comes, to talent, I think some companies focus on top talent, but I think as you illustrated through your comments, Penny, we need to get our entire talent pool ready for tomorrow's, right? We don't want to, as the requirements evolve, we for sure want to prepare our talent. We don't want to leave anyone behind. So it's not just about key talent, as it may be, there's some strategies, some talent strategies call for development in the past to focus on that area. I think we now need to focus on everyone. And I think, you mentioned the leveraging flexible workforce models. And I think that is something that we're absolutely doing. We have our traditional, permanent workforce, we have temporary contractors, interns, our BPO, and third-party expert resources as well to give us the ability to flex as needed. So I would not say we're facing any challenges today from a talent perspective, but we do have a high level of focus to our talent strategy in what as exactly what you mentioned, right? The talent of tomorrow strategy. And I think with this one, the way that we have decided to focus that is, first, just like you mentioned, right? The digital focus is what we're looking for, as well, basically being digital savvy, and being able to have a data-driven operation and decision-making. I think that is key. And the teams will continue to work virtually. So those skills for virtual leadership, I think are critical, and we're making a significant investment on that. I think the next one will be, we're very focused on transferable skills, right? I mean, I think you mentioned the soft skills, and I think that is absolutely critical. And I call it kind of transferable skills, the critical thinking, the analytical thinking, the learning agility. I think those are important, and those make us successful and allows us to build a career in different functional areas. So I think thinking differently of talent, not just by the functional expertise, but also this other transferable skills that makes us successful, doesn't matter where we go. And from that perspective, then we become more fungible and more capable, which is also another key pillar for us. And we're looking to provide, of course, the cross-training and the upskilling and right skilling for our talent to be able to do that. And finally, I think the digital and data-driven operation, I think that it's not just a mindset, but a capability and a culture that needs to be developed within GBS. I think we're well positioned to deliver this for the business and come, so that we all come along and create this new culture and new way of working for the business as well.
Yeah, I love the fact that talent for tomorrow, and then us being kind of a filter to help use those skills and other parts of the organization benefit. Matilde, would you add anything else?
Yes, well, we call it future-ready workforce. I think every company has its own terminology, but it's definitely addressing the same needs that we have. Talent strategy is a vital component for us at Cargill and at GBS. And we want to think of GBS as an incubator of talent for the greater Cargill, globally. So we have a very strong talent strategy and talent pipeline. And we think of talent not only as top talent, we think of talent as the entire population. But as we looked at our future-ready workforce, we took the approach to say, we broke it down in several parts. The first one is, what are the core capabilities we need to build for the support of our existing functions? So if you're in finance today and you are a collector, what are the capabilities you need to develop for the future? Because the world is changing. We also look at the core capability that we call functionally agnostic, but what does it mean to be more customer focused, more customer expert, having the ability to influence, having the ability to partner, with our stakeholder. And the third one is, what are the new capabilities we'll need to bring? So in the data analytics, in the data engineering, the data viz, and I think we are all familiar with that. What we realize is, for the latter part, for those new capability, we had a tendency at Cargill to outsource what I would call those new emerging strategic skill set for the company. We tended to outsource to third-party company, and we believe that we need to change that. We are on our way to change it because we want to build that talent in-house. We believe there's a huge possibility also to help upskill our existing talent to transfer into those new roles in the future. And it's a big part of what we are doing. We also believe we want to retain that knowledge, correct? There's a knowledge retention that is very important for those capability of the future. So it's work in progress for us. But we are definitely focusing on really building all of those. And it's really enabled by a strong L&D program with a digital platform, with rotational program. Again, I mentioned we want to be an incubator of talent within CBS, but within Cargill as well. And definitely top of mind in our organization as well.
Yeah, very, very important. Okay, our next topic, no surprise, is improving cost efficiency. Now, we all know that the foundations of shared services was cost and control. So it always gets in the top few. What have you done for me lately? I heard a lot about the talent. So it's usually people, process, technology, and how you get there. I saw in both of your overviews, you talk about end to end, and how you're able to optimize and stretch those boundaries, if you will, of the opportunity for you to really give back and look at a process from an end-to-end perspective and help drive those improvements. Continuous improvement has been a cornerstone, as well as performance management, in how we meet these operational goals. Any comments, cost, and maybe a focus on value? Let's start with Matilde.
Thank you, Penny. It's been my job for 2 years to shift the conversation from cost to value. And I make a statement, cost matters, okay? We have been delivering a minimum of 10% efficiency year over year since we started in 2014. Our finance operation, which is about 60% of our headcount in our GBS organization, will deliver 11% this year. And I'm talking this year because we close our year in a week, actually, at the end of May at Cargill. So cost has been embedded in the way we work, and we return that saving back to the organization. But we need to shift that conversion to value. The way we have delivered costs is, the first one was around migration. And we know that we still have some migration to happen. In our finance, we want to reach top quartile and best in class 90% penetration. We are today 75%, so we know we have some room to grow. But the part of the cost saving that comes from migration is less now today than it used to be in the past. There's obviously a relentless focus on process simplification and process standardization. I mentioned in my intro, we migrated work in legacy systems. 2 years ago in Costa Rica, we were managing out of 30 legacy systems in our center, and we have a lot more at Cargill still. And as we are on our journey to SAP deployment over the next, we'll finalize that roadmap over the next 3 years. How do we make sure that we start looking at harnessing value from that SAP deployment? How do we maximize the value of our investment? And we're working very closely with the process organization, with the data team, with IT, obviously as an enabler, to understand how do we remove process fragmentation? How do we look at designing process and removing some of the customization? We are investing in process data mining capability to help us really bring strong monitoring and measurement to where we can capture additional value. And again, huge opportunity in our space. The other area which I would mention, the other example I mentioned that has allowed us to move a bit more to the value conversation, we are building, we've started actually to build centralized analytic hubs in our GBS organization, both in Costa Rica, Europe, and in India as well. And what we see here is while the first step of building those capability in our GBS will drive some cost saving, the true value is how we unlock the data and how we unlock multi-million dollar as we support strategic pricing for our commercial excellence team or for the enterprise. So we are starting to get better, I would say, at shifting the conversation from cost saving, which is important and matters and will continue to deliver, to how do we enable value by process simplification, really maximizing the value of our SAP deployment and looking at capability that can really unlock value for our customers and our enterprises.
Very good. Susanna, any comments?
Yes, I think very similar to what Matilde shared. The process simplification, the process mining also has allowed us to identify the happy path and how deviation and customization it drives cost. So I think very similar from that perspective. I would agree that although we have been delivering in terms of the cost efficiency and the cost to serve that we have as an organization, it is not as easy to demonstrate or quantify the value proposition here, right? Because I think there is a baseline that is expected, but I would say that currently beyond that baseline of excellence in execution, the simplification and the customer experience and what we bring from that perspective, there is other value add that comes from working capital. And for example, that is easy to quantify, right? But what about the cost avoidance, right? That comes from strong quality and controllership, or the insights and a faster, for example, a faster planning cycle, a more digital enabled planning cycle. How do you quantify getting the data sooner to decision makers with better insights? Those are very difficult to quantify. And the same for when we bring industry leading processes for travel and expense or purchasing, which basically impact the entire company. Those values are difficult to quantify. They are recognized, and I think that opens the door to different conversations, but they're not as easy to quantify. I think just as Matilde, I think we've been looking to bring those conversations forward, provide visibility of the value that we're bringing, and then through that allowing us to have a more, a stronger, partnership, a sit at the table, and to shift, from a service provider to a strategic partner and advisor. So that's basically the journey that we're in.
Yeah, I love it. When I first heard that happy path with the process mining about 18 months ago, I just had to laugh because working for the Hackett Group, when my father used to call, I knew it was him calling, and I would always say, "This is Penny Weller with the Happy Group," and he used to chuckle. So, and whenever I hear that now in process mining, I just love that, and it is very forward-looking, and several companies are going down that path, and we're looking for that next frontier. I've got a couple of clients that have looked at their quality program, and instead of doing some of their voice of the customer kind of satisfaction, they said, you know what, we're not so pointed on level of satisfaction. We want to get in there with this process mining and really take out any pain points for our customers. So that takes us to our final official topic, which is on customer centricity. And I know you've talked about it a little bit. Both of you had made some various points throughout this conversation about improving that customer experience. So what we find within Hackett is that this is definitely an area, you'll see on the next slide, that is getting into the top echelon of what we focus our attention on. And it comes about because of external pressure. We all like to be delighted. We want to know where our products are, what's the status of our service. If you're looking to optimize and improve a process, I always say, take a look at your contact center. Why are people contacting you in the first place? You don't call your utility company and say, is my electronic payment made? You're only calling if there's usually an issue. So how do we make that experience better? Where are you spending some attention? Have you had any great insights and nuggets? What about things like chat bots? Are they successful for you? Technology is opening a whole new world between stakeholder segmentation, technology innovations, and a huge interest in satisfying that customer. So any particular comments? Susanna.
Thank you, Penny. And yes, we are experiencing the pressures, I think, that you mentioned, and in a lot of cases, as you mentioned, they are external, right? We're looking to be, and we at our DNA, we are a very process oriented, data driven operation, but our service and our customers are looking for that personal, that very personal service. So it is interesting that, how do we continue to have that DNA of process and data, while at the same time making the interaction with the customer feel very, very personal. And with that, I think, in how we design our processes, it's important. The culture that we have at the sites and our staff is also important. So culture is a big aspect of it, but the process design and then the enabling technologies, as you mentioned, are also part of it. I think also what we're looking for as we have reached, let's say, a level of performance that is very robust and very solid, then that gives us the opportunity to look into how to be, more proactive, right? I think in the past, getting to the right level of performance that the company expected was the pole flag that we had to run for. Now that we have reached that, in the last years, we've been able to then take a more proactive approach, and then delighting the customer by taking the proactive approach and not reactive. So I think that is another aspect of it. I think in this aspect of customer centricity, you have the process, you have the culture, and then you have the enabling technologies, just like you mentioned with chatbots, and there are definitely some tools that make this easy for us as well.
Right.
As I listen to you, Susanna, you know, I can definitely, a part of me is a bit envious here because we're definitely not at the same level of process maturity in that space at Cargill. And that's the outcome of having grown organically for so many years and not having, I would say, integrated our technology into only 2 SAPs like you have. So, but I would say at the end of the day, what we do is for the customer, and we are putting the customer at the center of our decision-making process across the entire organization, wherever we sit at Cargill. Because what we want to make sure is that we improve that customer experience. I gave the example of for each order, 7 connection points for 4 different teams. We mapped actually the customer journey to come up with those information to understand the pain point. And we are doing a whole set of things. Deploying the right technology, a cloud solution, chat box, wherever we can. Looking at customer segmentation, so we make sure that we can apply it properly. Building, working as fast as we can on really simplifying the end-to-end, which means process design enabled by the right technology. We are bringing actually in our GBS organization new capability, UX designer, that we are hiring in-house to help us really put the customer at the center of how we design those process. And the biggest challenge we have today is really, or the biggest opportunity, I can turn it the other way around, is that how do we accelerate integration, end-to-end integration of all of our systems, and to have one single view of a customer, which today is still a bit of a challenge for us. It will take us a couple more years to get to a SAP, I would say, environment where we have better visibility. But customer is at the center of every decision we make, in the capability we build, in the technology we deploy, and in the focus we have on the process design.
And that leads right into, that addresses a question, one of the external questions that we had about recommendations of how to break down those silos between various groups. So the fact that you take the time to listen, segment the customers, understand their journey, identify the pain points. We are almost out of time. There was one short question about the concept of curiosity and business acumen. And it sounds like they said curiosity sounds like being alert to insights. What I would share is being open and receptive, and from a continuous improvement perspective, go back to the magic concept of the 5 whys. Challenge your staff and communicate and be very open with that. So I think we had a fabulous panel. I'm going to turn it back over to Anna. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, Penny. Thank you, Susanna. And thank you, Matilde. This was very insightful. We're very happy to have you. We hope to have you again with other topics that address in the shared services industry. Definitely very interesting for all of our audience. Thank you to our audience for being here with us and for all the questions. I hope this is insightful for all of you. And we will be sending you the recording of this webinar. Keep posted on our LinkedIn and look for us as CINDE Costa Rica on LinkedIn. And don't forget also to visit our webpage, cinde.org. Or if you want more information about investment opportunities in Costa Rica, just see our address on our website or contact us directly. We will be happy to share insights with you on how to do business here and successful shared services organizations. So goodbye and have a great day. And thank you, everyone.